What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes checking in here. I'm going to talk to Bassil Hafez, who's got a big fight coming up against Mickey Gall at UFC 302. Now, this is an interesting fight because both guys are from the tri-state area. Of course, you all know that Gall's from New Jersey, but neighboring state, Pennsylvania, that's where Hafez is from. And it's good to see you again. And man, I mean, I know it's almost a year later, but what an amazing debut on short notice for you, Bassil. That was incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. I definitely was the worst weight cut of my life, and I wasn't in fight shape when I took the fight, but I got to show a little bit of my heart and my grit, and that I'm skilled in all areas, and so I'm really excited for this one because it's a full camp with proper preparation, and my weight is already 15 pounds lower than it was when I took the fight against JDM. So, this is going to be night and day with how I look in the cage.
Yeah, full camp. And, last time there's a little pressure, it was your debut, late notice against a really solid fighter, respected to Ellen Madalena and what everything he's doing. So now you get the full camp. And then, of course, my colleague also had you on and talked about how afterwards you had to go to the ER, but obviously all that's been, cleared up. But I just can't say enough about what a great first impression. But what was the reason for that fight in July? And now we're all the way almost till June. Was it those lingering injuries that you talked about in that interview with Nolan King, or was it hard to book you? Or because like usually I like for fighters who have some momentum, win or lose, to get booked again.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to fight right after. So I went into the fight with I had a motorcycle accident that happened, but like 5-6 weeks right before that JDM call, and I'd fractured my wrist in the motorcycle accident and got pretty good road rash. Anyone that's been in one, they understand, and you don't really walk away without injuries when that happens when you lay out your bike. And so I got in a motorcycle accident, and then I kind of like injured myself, and I kind of healed, and then in the fight I re-injured my wrist pretty good and had to go see a doctor, and then also I needed surgery in my knee, and so I had a little delay from that. I had to get surgery in my knee, and I had to also wear a splint, let the fracture heal properly, and then I had a fight January 13th against Preston Parsons, which I was really excited for, and then going into that fight, I had overworked my knee pretty good. I guess coming back from surgery, it just I went as soon as I was able to get the full clearance. I went full gung ho with the training, and I didn't skip a beat. And then leading into the fight, probably about a month out, I had injured my knee, and it was bad enough where I couldn't walk. I mean, like I was like unable to walk on it. It was like stuck straight. I couldn't train. I couldn't do anything, and I still actually wanted to fight. I planned on fighting, and what happened was I tried to like go see a doctor and see if I can get it handled hush hush, but I made the mistake. And I mean, I made the mistake. I'm a company guy, so I went through the company, and the UFC, obviously everything gets back to the matchmakers, and they found out that I was dealing with something. And then Dr. Davidson basically told the matchmaker that he was not clearing me to fight a month out because of I needed like apparently 5-6 weeks of inactivity for the knee to heal without surgery. And so it was a tough spot I was in. I was trying to still fight. Then it got back to the matchmaker, and he obviously made the right decision because they're all about taking care of the fighters the best of their knowledge and the best they can. And so Sean pulled the fight for my best for my health, and I wasn't able to take that fight anymore, and so I had to wait. And then I wanted to fight sooner. I was like, I didn't really like. I took off from that fight, but I didn't let myself get out of shape or do anything. I really stayed as prepared as I could because I wanted to fight right after. I wanted to fight like in April and in March and any one of those dates. And this was the opportunity that was given to me. And I'm not a big fan of saying no to fights ever. So I just said yes. I said, yes, this is the opportunity. I actually asked if we could fight sooner. I think Mickey needed more time. I was told that he needed it to be June 1st. And so for me, it was okay. I don't say no. I haven't said no yet to anybody. So I accepted the fight, and just this is the time frame it took. I realized obviously it's been almost a year, but the UFC has to schedule their fights out. This is the way the big show works. It's not based off of when I want to fight. It's based off of what's available. So ideally I would have fought a couple months ago. I've been ready, and the time frame ended up where it's at, and I'm just excited to get back in the cage. It's a great card to be a part of. It's gonna be tough to earn a bonus, but I'm always gonna do what I can to make my fight stand out and make sure that I deserve it. Especially, I got some more bills to pay, so I want to try and earn that bonus, and I'm excited to get back in there, even though it's been a long time. It'll be worth it.
The fact that it's been a long time, but it's a pay-per-view, does that almost kind of make up for it in a way?
To be honest, and this may sound cliche, but I really don't give a shit where I fight, man. If it was in the Apex, or if it was on Mars, if it was in the Sphere, like the only thing I care about is when I'm in that cage. The lights are on me, and the cage could be placed anywhere. So I actually enjoyed the Apex fight. People hate on it, I think, because they need to hype themselves up. Like, this is my dream to fight for the UFC. I've thought about these moments and being here since I've got involved in mixed martial arts, and since I stepped into the gym at 18 years old. And so I don't care where the fight is. This is going to be cool to do it in front of a live audience at the Prudential Center, a really big arena on such a huge card. But I don't care where it takes place. If it was in the Apex, I would still fight the same, and it's going to be taking place in front of all his fans. I'm going to fight the exact same way I would. So I don't care where it takes place. It's cool though to be on this card, and I'm happy. Yeah, but I definitely Apex, maybe I would have been higher in the card. It's
I
easier to
believe
try and
you.
earn a bonus when you're higher in the card, I feel like.
I believe you about the Apex and the Sphere, but Mars, I'm pretty sure you'd shit your pants. I think that'd be pretty cool.
No,
But
that'd be awesome. See, I like adrenaline rushes, man. Maybe skydiving. While we're skydiving, we'll do it. Like, they
there
drop
you
the
go.
cage in the air like a exploding cage.
Shark Tank or something.
That'd be dope. Yeah, I don't care, man. Where I fight, it's cool either way. To me, to be in the UFC, you have to accept that you don't choose where the event's taking place. The company chooses that, and I'm ready wherever it's going to be. It could be in the backyard or the garage.
Mickey Gall is kind of a tricky fighter. Now that you've probably dove into tape and all that and watched him, is there anything that you can point to, obviously without giving away your strategy, but things that you've seen that are maybe a little different from fighters that you've fought before? Is he kind of a little bit of a tricky fighter in a way?
I don't really look at him as a tricky fighter. I look at him as a fighter that has a lot of holes in his game that I'm looking to expose. Overall, he has good grappling. I think his wrestling is okay. His striking is okay. I actually beat him in a grappler's quest about 11 years ago for absolute championship belt. And I got the picture of me and him, me with the belt, him standing there, second place, sulking. And so I feel much more confident in my grappling versus his, but I feel that I'm better than him everywhere. People are gonna, to say what they may, and he's got a huge fan base because the way he came into the sport, calling out CM Punk and beating a guy who can't fight, which I don't know how that makes him a good fighter, but he's someone that I personally really want to beat the shit out of. I don't like his. I'm a little bit not envious, but like, his path was a lot easier. My path was a lot harder, and so you know, he's a tough fighter. Everyone in the UFC is a tough fighter. You can't say anyone's. There's going to be guys that are easier than others, right, to face. But I just faced who I think is the best, if not one of the best fighters in my division, and that's a feather in my cap that he couldn't knock me out. And it gives me confidence to go in there and really, be ready for battle, whether it's on the ground, whether it's wrestling, whether it's striking. I'm excited to really test myself against Mickey and show that I'm a much better fighter than him and that I deserve to be there instead of him. So that's my goal, is to make it a unanimous, make it a dominant victory. And I know he's preparing to do the same to me, but I think once he feels me, he's going to understand who I am.
So when you heard the name, it was music to your ears, or is that something that kind of developed once the name was brought up?
I mean, it was. I didn't really, I didn't really care who it was going to be. Once the name was presented to me, I was like, all right, but can we do it sooner? I think that was the first question I asked my manager. Can we go sooner? Because, you know, I kind of ran through already my first paycheck, and I had paid a lot of bills. I was in debt, and so I was like, man, I just want to fight him sooner. But obviously, as the camp is gone and I prepared more, I've become more confident in what I can do to Mickey. So I'm just excited because it's like we're both East Coast tri-state guys. I faced them before in the past. We came up in the same realm, same area, same age. We know a lot of the same people, really, on the East Coast, and so it's a fight that's bound to happen. And I'm happy that it's happening. My second fight in the UFC. It's a culmination of all the hard work I've put in over the time that I haven't been here. And now to finally be here, I'm going to keep kicking doors down. I'm not looking to crack any doors open and tiptoe my way around. I want to keep kicking doors down and keep having exciting performances.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, outside of the fight itself, is there any like major goal or something that you wish to accomplish in this fight?
My goal is to show that I'm in much better shape than I was when I made my debut, because I felt like I was. I mean, I obviously I pushed 3 rounds and I did what I did in there, but I was not in that good of shape really at all. So I'm excited to go out there and just look better than I did my last fight. That's the goal. You know, you're only as good as your last performance. And although people were impressed with my last performance, I am not happy with it personally. I know I could have done more. A lot of the people that are talking shit or saying their thing is don't know what I went through to make sure I made weight and showed up fight night. And so I'm gonna get better with every single fight, like I have in the past. I feel like I've jumped leaps and bounds from every single fight I've had in the past 5 fights, especially. And so every fight I'm looking to improve and make sure that I, you know, am a completely different and better fighter every time. So I'm excited to go in there and just, it's to have a battle with Mickey, to beat the shit out of him is my goal.
I know he'll have a lot of fans there, he's from that state. But like I was saying earlier, you're from a neighboring state. How many fans do you expect to bring from Pennsylvania?
I hope a lot of people show up. I have about maybe like 50 people, which is not a lot. I kind of missed the email that the UFC sends out with like getting tickets at a certain rate, and I responded to it late, and so I didn't have as many people as I wanted. Plus, it's not in Jersey, and people in the East Coast is different than out here. Here, like it's like, oh, you're from Colorado, you're fighting in Utah. People are gonna go out there, and Philly, it's like, oh, he's fighting in Jersey. It's far, even though it's not really far. So, I'm hoping to have a good amount of people. I know he's gonna have a lot more. He's from down the street, and so I fought in enemy territory a lot. I fought Evan Cuts in Dallas, Fort Worth area, and he filled that place with all his fans. And I've constantly fought, not constantly, but I've had a lot of fights in enemy territory, and so to me, it's just another challenge. It's another challenge to overcome. And I'm excited to shock his fans and hopefully steal some fans and show them what a real fighter is like.
It's interesting because you guys only debuted professionally about 2 months apart. So I could see why you have a chip on your shoulder, or maybe I'm speaking out of line, but like you were talking about, you're not envious, but still, wow, his second fight was in the UFC. And you guys have almost, I think, identical amount of fights. He's
I thought we
75,
made our
you're
debut the
84.
same night. I don't know. I could have swore we made our debut
Did
the
you?
same night because
Uh-huh.
I could be
He
wrong.
he fought on November 21st,
Oh, that's right.
2015,
Right there. Yeah.
and you fought on January 9, 2016. So you
Oh,
definitely had a longer road, but yet you gave us that story about how 11 years ago, you guys were already competing. So I could see why, you'd be a little like, okay, let's see
well,
what's up here or whatever. I mean, it's kind of a cool story, the way it started a long time ago, and now it meets again. But yet you took different roads.
yeah, I agree. It definitely is a culmination to that. Like I definitely have that feeling of like I think about it. I made my debut for CFC. He made his debut for Ring of Combat. I'm pretty sure he fought on Dana White's Looking for a Fight. I did not. He beat a bum his debut. I beat a guy who's a good fighter, average fighter, I would say, not an amazing fighter, but I beat a fighter in a good way. And I didn't have Dana White there to say I'm going to fight CM Punk and have him sign me. And he's had a really easy path, in my opinion. And good for him. He got it. He earned it. But I look at it like I had a lot rougher path getting there. I fought tougher guys. I did not really was not someone that I was at one point someone maybe that was thought not to be signed. And so my road was a lot harder, and I'm excited to really like finally have that match with him. I always wanted to fight him even after I grappled him because I found out he was a fighter, and I'm excited that's finally happening now. So it's something that I've been looking forward to for a long time, and it's something I thought about for a long time.
Just to be clear, who's the bum here? Is it Mike Jackson or CM Punk? Because those were his first 2 fights.
So Mike Jackson's he's gonna hate me because I think he's a good photographer, but I don't personally think he's a good fighter.
Uh-huh.
He might not like that, but I think he's a nice dude. I've met him in person. He's a really good photographer,
Yeah.
and CM Punk obviously is a bum. Let's be real here. I mean, come on. In terms of fighting, we're
Okay.
talking
Okay.
about like you can give credit where credit's due, but
Right.
he might admit he's a bum fighter. If he doesn't, then I think it's a little delusional. Like he hasn't fought as much as us. He hasn't trained in martial arts as long as us. He hasn't been through the ringer. And a lot of these guys that come over from WWE think that they're tough and think that they're hot shit, when it's like you're acting all day, taking steroids, and you're not really fighting people for real. You're acting that you're fighting people. Like, yeah, you're athletic, but being athletic doesn't make you a good fighter. Having grit, having toughness, being good at the martial arts that are involved with MMA make you a good fighter. And so for me, it's like, you know, they're not going to like it, but I'm an honest person. I'm very unbiased. Like, I don't think Mike Jackson is a great fighter. Otherwise he'd still be in the UFC. Right. I think, you know,
Yeah.
that's an effect on it. I think he's a good photographer and a good person. CM Punk, I think he's a good person. I've met him in person. He's a really nice guy. I don't think he's a great fighter. I mean, great fighters are like very few and far in between. So if they think they're a good fighter and expect people to say that, then it's like, it's kind of egotistical. You know, I don't think I'm a great fighter yet. I think I have a lot of great skills and I still have a lot to prove. And so, you know, if I fought CM Punk or Mike Jackson, I believe I would finish them better than Mickey finished them. Mickey just went the easy way and took them where they have no experience, which is the grappling. And so, yeah, no, I definitely don't think he had he had an easy road in the beginning, and they started to give him tougher fights, and he lost those tougher fights against guys that are good, like Mike Perry and Alex Morono and Mike Malott. And you know, I just believe that I am a high caliber fighter. I've trained with world champions multiple times throughout my career. I've been around very high level guys like Kamaru Usman, Justin Gaethje. I've sparred with Sean Strickland multiple times. Like, I've been around really high level fighters, and I don't think that Mickey is that. And I'm excited to prove that I am a high level fighter. So that's my goal, to go in there and to make it be a big gap between me and Mickey on fight night.
Are you guys the prelims main event? I'm trying to look at the placing here. It looks like you are on the featured prelims, but have they told you exactly where you're featured?
No, I don't know. I think at first I was supposed to be main card, then they bumped it down to prelims, and now I don't know if I'm early prelims. I don't know where it keeps moving. I don't care where it is, honestly. Like I said, my last fight with JDM was supposed to be prelims, and then I did good in my interviews, and a couple of things happened, and they bumped me up to co-main event, which was an amazing feeling. And so I'm indifferent where it's going to be at. If it's on the main card, that'd be amazing. If it's on the prelims, but I know that things shift. Like I said, it shifted with JDM day before the weigh-ins or day before the event, so it could shift at any moment. I'm just ready for any time to when they tell me I have to be there to report to that time, get my hands wrapped, warm up, and go in there and fight and impress the fans.
I'm into this fight, man.
You
Pennsylvania
should be,
against
baby.
New
Come on, let's
Jersey.
go.
This is gonna be a good one here. And you know, I like that there's a backstory 11 years ago, and so hopefully this gets promoted. Hopefully other media as well. You guys, you know, get to do some of that, because oftentimes we go from card to card, and it happens so quick that the fighters get lost in the shuffle, and so you're like, who's favored? Like, what's going on here? I like to know a little bit about, you know, if there's history, have they trained or anything like that, you know. So I'm glad we kind of accomplished that in talking about it. But thanks so much for the time, man. It was really good catching up with you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys
And
having me. This has been
pre-show
awesome.
that pizza lesson, that's awesome. I'm gonna start looking out for that.
You guys ever
for
need
when-
recommendations on East Coast food? I got you. Or even in Denver, I got some good spots. Wherever I go, I find the best food because I'm a fat boy at heart. So that's something I take pride in. I'm gonna look just like DC when I'm retired. I hope he knows it.
Nice.
But yeah,
All right,
man,
man.
definitely tune in. Whoever's watching this, tune in June 1st. I don't care where the fight's taking place and what part of the card. When I fight, you're going to be excited to watch it because you're going to be on the edge of your seat, whether it's going to go decision, whether it's going to be a finish. I've had maybe boring fights early in my career, but I don't do that anymore, man. I go out there and I'm leaving it on the line. If I die in that cage, that'd be an honor. So I'm excited to go in there and really test myself against Mickey and be in his face from opening bell.
That's what's up. Couldn't have said it better. All right. Thanks for the time. It's always great talking to you.